Welcome to part 2 on childlessness, as we see how the childlessness is progressing through the years. Let's enjoy and change our minds and our thoughts wherever possible.
This is our Kenyan girl.
I tell you I don't want children, and then you come to my life and think you will trick me and get me pregnant. I will flash it faster than we used to flash each other before. Please convince it, okay? Ushaenda kwa wenyewe alafu kahara. The way you flash that toilet properly, I will flash this your child. Don't joke with me.
For a woman who chooses not to be a mother, who doesn't...
Oh, I'll give you an award. I've already announced in India, young women who are capable of childbearing chose not to do it, we will institute an award for them. Because right now the greatest service you can do in the world is, you are not extra-populating this planet, okay?
Much of which comes from American pockets. In the United States, tensions over abortion are high after the leak of a draft Supreme Court judgment that, if confirmed, would overturn Roe versus Wade. Thousands of miles away, African abortion rights advocates are nervously watching.
3,000 babies a day murdered in our nation. 3,000 a day. That's a 9/11 every day.
Babies are murdered here. You should not murder babies.
Whatever you're afraid of, it's not an excuse for you to kill your own baby.
A significant ruling for the women of Benin, as the country's lawmakers late on Wednesday voted to legalize abortion within the first 12 weeks of pregnancy. Abortion was already authorized in Benin under restricted conditions. For instance, if the life of the mother was threatened by the pregnancy, if the pregnancy was a result of rape or incest, or if the unborn child had a severe anomaly. The new law now states that women can terminate a pregnancy within the first 3 months if it's likely to aggravate or cause material, educational, professional or moral distress incompatible with the woman or the unborn child's interests.
China's birth rate plunges to its lowest in 4 decades. The second one reads, more Americans say they're not planning to have a child. The third and the last headline is from India. For the first time ever, India's fertility rate is below replacement level. What's replacement level? 2.1. It basically means every woman should have 2.1 children if a country is to replace its dying population.
The more educated the woman, the less children she is likely to have. According to experts, the only reason why poor people give birth to more children, is because they have a lot more time on their hands.
But the problem that you have now is that as women are getting better educated, with more employment, more status, more prestige, they compete themselves out of their ability to find an attractive mate. As women raise up through the dominance hierarchy, and this is...
Competence hierarchy,
sorry.
Okay.
Who's going to tell women the equal access to opportunity that you have recently just acquired? Actually, what that's doing is it's making it more difficult for you to find a mate that you're fundamentally attracted to.
Well, I've watched women over the entire course of my life with, I would say, an affectionate eye. You know, I love my sister, I love my wife, I have a daughter, I love my mother. I'm pretty happy about women, all things considered. I don't have an axe to grind in relationship to how they should conduct their lives. I don't even know how they should conduct their lives. I've watched what happens. And I've also watched what happens to women who hit 29 or 30 and then can't conceive. And that is not a fate I would wish on anyone. It's awful. And 30% of couples fall into that. 30% of couples have difficulty conceiving. It's a lot. And the probability that you'll have difficulty conceiving increases with age.
The question is, Coach, in the end, what happens to women that can't have kids? What's life like for them? Like, truthfully, especially when dealing with men. Single women that don't marry and or divorce and never have children are highly susceptible to living in poverty after the age of 40 and 45. This is because most likely they're going to hit the glass ceiling in their employment. Obviously, incomes with the so-called gender pay gap, there is a division between men who earn in their 50s and women who earn in their 50s. And this is simply because of lifestyle choice. A lot of times they choose dead-end careers, dead-end degrees, and they end up in a situation where they simply cannot earn and can compete with men. Ultimately, by the time they get to this particular age, they want to go out there on Our Time, on Plenty of Whales, on whatever these apps are, and they want to find a man, all right, to hit that Hail Mary and send them into retirement safely after being on the carousel for 10, 20, 30 years. The problem with that is the amount of men at that particular age 50, they don't want to deal with women who are struggling, who hit the glass ceiling, who've peaked out in their income, who are looking for a retirement plan, who've been on the carousel for 3 decades. They're not looking for that. As a matter of fact, if I'm a successful man in my 50s, I can look all the way into my mid-20s if I was looking for a suitable mate. The reality is this: women who don't have children, who are highly susceptible to poverty, don't have a lot of suitable mates to pick from, and therefore they date in misery, all right? It's difficult for them. I can't find a good man. Where have all the good men gone, all right? And the other part of it is they don't have anyone to turn to in order to seek that completion emotionally as far as love.
Hope you well. Delta Jim says, suggestion for how a 40-year-old woman should date. Great question. Here's a good thing I will say to any woman at that age. Date God. In this stage, date God and date yourself. Distract yourself with dating God and dating yourself so you won't be overly consumed with the idea of me being 48 and I'm not married yet, right? And so don't be discouraged. Be excited.
I'm 63 and I have been single my whole life. Thank you.
A life without children is vapious, and it's inane, and it's pointless. And you may sit here and think that your career matters, but the truth is that your job will fire you at a whim and don't give a second, don't give a solitary shit. So and when you're 52 and you're past it with no grandchildren in a house by yourself, and all your friends have grandchildren in this beautiful life, and you're sitting there by yourself, do you think the fact that you can afford a few extra Gucci bags is going to genuinely make you feel happy? I was at my grandmother's 93rd birthday. I looked there. My grandmother had 9 children because there was my father and 8 more. They all had a bunch of kids, blah, blah, blah. I stood there and I looked at my 93-year-old grandmother, and there was a room, a whole room full with maybe 70 people that came from that one woman. Isn't that remarkable? Yeah, that nobody cared about her career. Nobody asked what job she did. Nobody asked how many times she went to the club. Nobody asked if she had time to go to festivals. No. You had 70 sentient beings, including myself, full of life from one woman who dedicated herself to being a mother and a good wife. That is beautiful. And if you sit here and genuinely think that you're going to work your ass off through your fertile years, and by the age of 54, you're not going to be suicidal alone with a cat, then you're dumb.
That's what
not having kids would be the worst thing that could possibly happen.
I actually do want kids.
All these women are sitting there saying, oh no, I don't want to listen to a man. I don't want kids. I just want to watch Sex in the City and drink martinis and go on a beach. And what kind of life is that? That's like the worst life. That's not even real.
That's who?
That's not even real. The happiest women on earth have children and a man who's paying the bills and their mothers. The happiest people on earth. I guarantee it. Your mothers, ask your own mother, do you regret having me? She's going to say, of course not. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. So now you're going to sit here and you're going to end your own bloodline? All your ancestors were out there surrounded by saber-toothed fucking tigers trying to survive on the streets out there in caveman days just to get to the final end where we have all the medical care and you can live in a nice warm house for your fucking selfish ass to say, no, I don't want kids. I'm too busy in the fucking strip club or going to fucking Mallorca to have a pina colada on the beach. It's absolutely insulting to your entire bloodline. Everything everyone above you has ever done and struggled for. All the times your grandparents went to work when they didn't feel like it, just for you to exist, for your selfish ass to say, no, me and my passions and my dreams and my shit drawings and my Instagram page is worth more than ever having children. You're a selfish fuck. Fuck that. You should all have kids. Sorry, Myron. Sorry, Fred. I'm done. Goodbye.